Ladies with an attitude.
It's the November issue of EmmaHeathen.com, and this month we've been inspired by the launch of the new Harry Potter film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So this month we're thinking witches and wizards and magic. So this month's killer question is, do we believe in the gift of psychic powers, or do we think it's a load of hocus pocus? So joining me on the panel this month are the fabulous Wendy Thomas.
Hello.
Christy Heaven.
Hello.
Kirsty Thomas. And the amazing psychic Angie Barnett.
Hi.
Okay then, so I don't know about you ladies, but I'm a bit of a skeptic. I'm not quite sure I really believe in it all. Obviously I've got a reading with Angie on Tuesday, so I'm hoping she's going to convince me. So Wendy, do you believe in psychic powers?
Definitely.
Yes?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, definitely something there. Definitely, yeah.
Christy?
I'm on the fence because I've never had a reading, so I can't really say. So it's, for me, I'm just undecided. I don't know.
Yeah. Kirsty?
I'm very open-minded. I've had a few readings over the years. The first two people I saw could have told me anything. It was all so generic, you could have said it to anybody. But I had a reading with Angie a few years back, and I have to say I was taken aback by the stuff she said, stuff that nobody else could have known. So Angie did sway me, so
Yeah.
I'm much a believer now.
Brilliant. So Angie, how do you convince people, or as I said, how long have you been doing readings?
You know,
and
Well, how long have I been doing readings? I mean, I've had my gift since I was a little girl. I was born into a family full of psychics and mediums. On my grandmother's side, we had the witch aspect and the psychic ability. She worked with the crystal ball. She did cartomancy with regular playing cards. She also did voodoo and witchcraft. Yes. And she also had spirits in the house.
For your partner as you walk around with a needle.
Well, I never can imagine, can it? It's not really our job to convince people of whether the gift is real or not, because, you know, one of the things for us and for myself is, with my gift, I don't question it. I've had it since I was a child, and I'm 45 now, and so over the years, you do question when you first start working with a gift, but for me, the best part about it is having somebody, like for instance, like yourself, who's never been in for a reading, and for you to walk out with a completely different perspective on it. You turn in the non-believers into believers, but what really makes it is when things start manifesting from the readings. Because a reading, you may have to wait a certain amount of time for things to unfold before you can connect the dots. But when you connect the dots, you sit there and you go, oh my goodness, that's the aha moment, the light bulb moment, where you go, that's what Angie said. You know, and for me, on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, I can promise you, I get emails, I get phone calls, I get people coming into the store saying, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, because I walked out of here thinking, my goodness, what a load of rubbish that was. But you completely and utterly floored me, because I never imagined those things to unfold, and they did. And so for me, it's not about being right, because I don't care whether you believe me or not. It don't make any difference to me. But for me, what makes me happy is the outcome for you guys. So when somebody comes to a reading and things do unfold and they're absolutely ecstatic. I mean, I've had women coming in with their baby who doctors have defied pregnancies, and the cards don't lie.
Yeah.
And so for me, that is the best thing, because they are happy. Because a happy person is a voice. Are you with me?
Yeah.
A happy person will talk about what they've been told. They'll talk about their experiences, and that triggers a referral, which is how your word of mouth is in any business.
Yeah.
But it just so happens in this field, because it's such a, how can I put it? It's a hot point. I mean, it can be a real sensitive issue. I mean, some people come in through the door and the amount of questions that we get is we could never cover in one session. But there are certain things that we refuse to cover, like health and death, obviously, because you know, we're not God. Are you with me? But I do have a very, very strange gift where I pick up on body ailments and things, and I can tell when somebody's pregnant sitting in my room, and I can tell when somebody's got problems with any aching part of their body, because one of the great things about my gift, unfortunate part, but is very unique, I physically feel it. So my guides and the spirit will physically give it to my body, so I will talk about it. And I've had grown men in tears because of it. You know, so it's a really amazing aspect, because of course we do question as a family, why us? Why were we chosen to be? You know, and I mean, all through my life I've used my gift. I never did it as a career until I opened up my business, but I always used it throughout my corporate career, and it never failed me. With the people I met, the people I worked with, the places I lived, everything, I've always used my gift. And you can't use your gift for your own advantage, but you still have the sixth sight. Do you understand what I mean? So you can use it in that sense, your gutting sense.
But do you ever find it a burden at times? That things you pick up on you'd rather not know?
No, because this is where, over the years, I mean, trust me, we all make mistakes when we learn with a gift, because you try and please everybody, you know, and you're on call 24 hours a day, and you can't do that, you know. So I remember my first experience of really learning to control it. I was working abroad at the time on cruise ships, and I was in Hong Kong, the middle of nowhere, and I just kept having all these voices, and I, for whatever reason, couldn't communicate with them. They didn't, well, there was too many of them. So I had to get on the phone to my grandmother, who was Chriswick, the original Chriswick, and I had to say to her, Nan, I need help. You don't need help. You are in control of this gift. You say when, you say how, and you say who. So you have to respect the spirit world, and they respect you. You build up a relationship with them. So when I shut shop, you'd think I was nuts. I say, good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. And when I walk in the morning, I open that door. First thing I say is, good morning, everybody. Turn the lights on. Do my usual things. And I say, right then, you can all come now. Feel free. But when I leave, you stay there. Right? You don't follow me home. Don't get me wrong. There has been experiences where I was explaining to Emma, you know, where sometimes you get spiritually attacked, unfortunately.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it can be very, very overwhelming. But because of my family, we have what is called the power of three with my sisters. So we have a very, very strong connection that can banish a lot of things, basically, but we're protected in a certain sense, you know. But sometimes I can't do it myself. They have to do it with me. You know, so it can be quite scary. But as I said, over the years, you just learn to control it. And obviously you've got to understand that it's a portal as well. So anything can come through. So we take certain measures to protect ourselves while we're doing the readings. Are you with me?
Because I remember you burning sage before we started.
Before we start every reading, you'll have the sage burn. And it's not your regular cooking sage where people get confused. It's called California white sage, which is what the Native American Indians used to use to ward off negative energies and banish evil and pass on their spirits, you know, their family members to the good light, basically. So it blocks negative energy.
Very fascinating.
But it also allows, you know, a clean energy. So let's say now some days I can read up to 12 people in a day. So you imagine all of those energies lingering. You don't want 10 people's energies in that room. You want it to be all about you. So it gets rid of everybody. Are you with me? Go on. You've had your time. Now you have to go, kind of thing. You know?
Right, ladies. So have any of you experienced
the only thing
spirit?
What you're saying about what happened with me, what got me really believing in it all, is years and years and years ago I went to Western Supermare with all the girlies. So we'd walked into a pub, but bar was completely empty. But as I stood by the bar, and as I walked to the bar, there was nothing there. But as I stood by the bar, I looked down and there was this amazing white feather. And I thought, oh, it's beautiful that is. Well, I just ordered the drinks, but I kept thinking, I gotta pick that
Was
feather
that
up.
for you?
I gotta pick it. So I picked it up, put it in my handbag. So later in the night, one of the girls wanted lipstick or something. So I said, in my handbag, when she went in my bag, she said, why have you got a feather in here? I said, I don't know. I said, I picked it up for some reason. I said, oh, throw it. And she said, no. So she said, do you believe that there's life after death? I said, well, I do like to think there's something. So she said, don't throw the feather away and I'll tell you about it again. So, okay, got all about it. The following day then, we all had to travel home. So we went to the car park, and as I got to the car, I thought, I can't drive home, I'm going to be killed. And I thought, you've got to drive home. And I'm having a conversation by myself, by the car, and I'm thinking, but I can't, I'm going to be killed. I was thinking, don't be so stupid, get in the car. So I got in the car, and I was driving, my hands on the steering wheel, and I was just watching everything. I was going to be killed. I knew I was going to be killed. It was awful. And as I was coming to the Severn Bridge, my mobile phone went, and those are the days you used to be chatting, driving. And I picked up the phone and I said, I can't speak because I think I'm going to be an accident. And I put the phone down, and it was like 2 seconds afterwards, the lorry in front of me, tyres burst.
Oh my God.
I knew that there was nothing at the side of me, so I was able to whoosh like that with the car. And as I was going past, I can still see the lorry driver's face looking at me as if to say, are you all right?
Are you okay?
And at that time, I felt as if I was being dipped in warm water. So this feeling
all
from
over
my
you, was
toes all the way up to my head. And then as it came down, I physically felt something being wrapped around me, like a cloak. And I remember driving, so relaxed, but thinking, I can feel a cloak. But I'm thinking, I'm just in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So there's no cloak on me. So got home. So it was the following day then, my friend Anne phoned me and she said, did you get home all right? I said, I'm never going to believe what happened. And I told her. And she said, that's what I was going to say to you. If an angel, if they know that you're in danger, an angel will leave you a white feather
Divine
to give you,
intervention.
to give you extra protection, sort of like thing. And then she bought me these angel cards then, and that's it's like unbelievable.
Well, you're very lucky to be able to remember it, to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because so many people have divine intervention, and we put it down to coincidence or luck. There's no such thing as luck.
No.
You know, there really isn't. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. Your life is mapped out for you. And for you to be able to understand and speak about it and have that memory,
I know.
I'm jealous.
But it's like funny because she got me these angel cards and I read what to do. But with me, it's like I'll start shuffling the cards. I'll be asking questions in my head, and then you're supposed to deal them out in different ways. But the cards actually fly out of my hand. They fly out. And before, I used to put them back in, and somebody said, don't. So it's the question I'm asking, but it just fly out. So, but there's loads.
I've never had anything happen like that. The only sort of like experience that we've had with anything psychic was my son Jack. He's been very ill throughout his life, as I told you, and my mum's friend has said he's got a guardian angel, and it's a little girl, and she watches over him. And she even remembered the name. I can't remember the name, but my mum will tell you as well the name of his guardian angel.
Wow.
And
Fiona is mine.
Every time he has an operation or he's ill, this little girl watches over him to make sure nothing happens. So, that's. I'd love to have. I'd love to know there's something else. That's what I'm hoping when I see Angie now, she's gonna say something to get me to think, you know.
But there's so many things since Rogers, because my husband passed away 2 years ago. So many things. As I said, I've been sat in the house, and it's like you used to be on one settee and I'd be on the other settee, and I got a touch lamp. But he would always be on that settee, so I would say to him, Rog, put the bloody lamp on. So many a time, if I've been like rock bottom, sitting there crying in the daytime, that light will come on, and I'm like, you know, I know he's there. There's loads.
I love to have a
with my
sign.
dad. My dad used to love Christmas. Absolutely loved it. He's one of these everything all out, Christmas crackers, eggnog or advocaat, whatever they call it. So when he passed away, I had this tree I've seen the trees, I've got the built-in lights.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, it came in 2 parts. It was all connected, so I put it on. So I put all the decorations on it, lit up lovely. All of a sudden, the top half went out. So I fiddled with all the bulbs, trying to get it on. No, and I thought, do you know what? It's staying up. All the baubles are on. There's no way I'm doing it. But on Christmas morning, I plugged it in, and I got a picture of my dad on a cupboard next to where the tree was, with me, my brother, and my sister. So I looked up at him and I said, "Merry Christmas, Dad." And with that, the top of the tree came on.
Love it.
Oh, brilliant.
Like, only for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And
I
then
know,
went
and
straight
then,
back
as
out
I
again.
say, people say, oh, it's coincidence. But it's not.
I know, it's just
a
no, it's just
message.
Well,
I'd
there's
love to
one
have
actually
one
from
now.
2 weeks ago. We did a group party in Winarlive, and I've read for this lady for years, but she just fancied having it in her home this time instead of coming to the store. So there was one lady who'd never had a reading before, and her mum had passed away a few months prior, and she was desperate to connect, but we don't get to choose who comes through, unfortunately. And I was explaining to her, it's really difficult for maybe your mum doesn't understand where she is. There's many different reasons why they wouldn't connect right now. Or there may be more pressing issues you need to be told in your reading rather than a hello.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
But she may not be, if she was a skeptic, she may be finding it difficult to communicate. And so she was really disappointed, really upset with the reading, and became quite shirty, and was like, you know, I was like, well look, if you don't have to continue the reading, it's entirely up to you. You can pursue, you know, you can go and join your friends. That is not, makes no difference to me.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm sorry, but go to the church and you'll realise there's 100 people there and only 2 people will get a message.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because after we'd finished the group of 8 ladies, my sister was there doing the readings with me. She came back through and said, "Angie, do you mind if I have a minute?" I thought, oh God. She's going through my ear off again. She said, "I'd actually like to apologise." And I was like, "For what?" She said, "Well, first of all, I didn't handle it properly. I guess I was just expecting Mum to be there. But when we came back in the room and the other ladies came in instead of us," she said, "all of a sudden the lights started flashing. Both lamps started flashing. So the girl who was there decided, sure, I'll record it." So they recorded it. Now through the naked eye, you can't see things. But when she played the video back, there was 4 orbs.
Oh my God.
And they were flying.
Wow.
Flying in front of it. And I said, there is your mum right there. I said, you have to understand, you know, there's many different ways they'll communicate. Just because they can't speak to me doesn't mean they don't want to, but you have to understand a spirit is just an energy. They can't get through to me, so they'll go through the next form of energy, which is electricity.
Yeah.
So it was phenomenal, and I have to say it was one of the most vivid experiences of orbs that even I've seen.
Blimey.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal, you
So
know.
Christy, have you experienced
I haven't
anything?
experienced anything, but I've always had a fascination with crystals. Like, I've always been fascinated by gems and crystals. Like, I went gem mining in America because
Wow.
it just fascinated me so much. And like, when I've been in your shop before, and I've always gone straight to where all the gems are and like the geodes and everything. I've always been fascinated by them, and I have like I want to read books about them. Like, I don't know what it is, but they're healing crystals, and they can.
You see, crystals are pure energy. So if you strip it right back, it is nothing but an energy.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many types of them to cater for many different ailments. Not just physical ailments, spiritual ailments and all sorts of things. If you're being drawn to things, then don't think I'm telling you what to do. But from my experience of learning with my gift for 45 years, when you're drawn to something, it's because there's something in you that can bring the best out of them. And so when I spoke earlier about my grandmother having the crystal ball and the cartomancy with the regular playing cards, I searched the world. I worked on cruise ships for 4 years, and cover practically every continent, over 120 countries, and I couldn't find a crystal ball anywhere.
No way.
Nowhere. Could not find one. But I was given my first pack of tarot cards when I was 18 actually, I tell a lie, 18, but I started working with them when I was 19. I'd always worked with a natural gift up until that point. And so when I started working with the tarot cards, it was like turning on the internet. It just flowed. And I thought, all these years, and then it was bizarre because I lived in Miami for 17 years, and my parents used to come out and visit me. And so there's a shop there that was called Ninth Chakra that actually inspired my business, to be fair. I used to go there and I'd go and have my readings done myself because you can't read for yourself. But my parents and I went shopping there and we found a crystal ball. And I was like, good God, I've been everywhere and there's one under my nose. But I couldn't use it. I've never suffered from migraines my entire life, but it gave me a migraine. So if you're drawn to it, 99 times out of 100, you can bet your life that you probably have got the healing gift.
But my niece was somewhere and she had to pick a stone. They were told, go and pick a stone. And she's seen a stone and she said, oh, that's lovely. But she thought, I'm not going to pick that one because I'm drawn to it. And the lady told her, you'll know it's a stone because it'll be warm. So she picked up all these different stones and they were all cold, and she just thought, you know, I'm going to pick that one, the one that, and as soon as she picked it up, she said it was so warm, and she asked it, oh, I don't know what it was, she was telling me something like thing, but she uses this stone now, and it says yes or no, something like thing.
Well, you can actually put crystals in pendulums.
Yes,
and so you can buy, I actually sell them, but you can buy it's like a spiral casing, and you can change the stone out to what you need. And for those who are not familiar with what a pendulum is, you can ask it many different questions.
I think
yes
hers goes
no.
up, just jumps up and down for yes.
Well, then that works for her. You know, the majority of it, the way it's known in the common world, then probably is right is yes and left is no. You know, that's normally the way it works. And if it swings to the right, then you've got a yes, and if it swings to the left, you've got a no, and if it keeps going, you've got an indifferent, which means you're not going to get an answer. But everybody works with, you know what, you can't tell somebody how to work with a tool because everybody uses things differently, and you'll know. I mean, my God, if you look at my own private collection, you think, who lives in a house like that? You really would, because I've been drawn to things and thought, it's not for me. Not connecting with it. Go for something else, you know. So you just build it up over the years, but your soul tells you what you need.
So your preferred method is tarot cards,
It is my preferred method. Yes, I do work with mediumship. You know, I do contact the spirit world.
Right, okay.
If they want to come. And so I make it very clear.
I know. I remember you asking me in my reading if somebody comes through, do you want to know or not? Which I like because it gave me the option.
Likes it, you see.
No,
I mean, some people are so
scared.
That's exactly why I asked.
But it's the living you've got to be afraid of.
Absolutely.
It is. It is.
The chances of you having any kind of negative entity through
I'm
are
not
very,
really,
very
as I said,
minimal.
because I've never experienced anything, I really want to, but I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be terrified? Because since my dad died, I can't even drive in the dark on my own, because in his last few weeks, he was always in the back of my car back and forth hospital, and I remember looking in the mirror and I can see his eyes, and he looks so sad and frightened, and you're like, I'm afraid to look in the mirror just in case I see him on the back seat.
Face.
So so
But he's probably on the back seat now.
He probably is.
He's
probably
smiling.
there and hasn't left you.
He probably is.
Smiling because he says the pain. He's
It's
happy.
just that fear, and I said I'm frightened about Tuesday, but I'm excited as well, because I'm like, I'd love to have a sign, or just know he's okay. And then perhaps the grieving process will be.
But perhaps you've had a sign and you just thought, coincidence.
Sometimes we don't pay attention. And you know, this is why I love doing what I do, because I tell people you've got to give the universe a nudge. You've got to tell them you want things. And you know, if you want, I swear, if you hate me in the mornings, I will absolutely project what I want in this world.
Oh, brilliant.
yeah.
Oh, there we are.
And if you don't ask, you don't get.
No.
So we're
That's
not
very
mad
true.
if we stand there in the morning naked, get up,
I want sex. Absolutely.
But what I do as well is that I can go to bed at night, and before I go to sleep, I'll say to the angels, if there's something that I need to know, tell me.
Really?
And then I could be the following day, halfway through the day, sort of like thing. I could have been thinking of something the day before, and I'll pick up a newspaper article, or a certain song will come on, and it's the answer of what I've been thinking, sort of thing. Or I have actually woke up, no longer wake up in the morning, for the first couple of seconds, and I thought, oh my God, I'm supposed to have done this, that, the other, and it's things that I forgot that I should have done a couple of weeks before.
Perhaps
sort of
I'm
thing.
not paying enough
You're not
attention
paying
then.
attention.
Right.
No.
But you know,
Perhaps you don't
sometimes
want to.
though,
Perhaps I don't want to. I am afraid.
Yeah,
I
because you
am.
said you were
I've
afraid.
always wanted to go and see someone. I know my sister's been to see Angie, and she said, well, everything you said happened.
Yeah.
She couldn't believe it because it was just, as you said, connecting all the dots, and absolutely everything came true. So I've always been like, oh, I'd love to, but then you're like, oh God, what if it's something I don't want to hear? But like Angie said, if
They
you
don't tell
what
you,
you
they
know,
don't
you wouldn't
know.
know.
I think
there
that's
are certain readers out there, don't get me wrong, and it's very frustrating because we're kind of all targeted with the same brush then, are you with me? And it really does, and I mean, I'm not a quiet, shy person at all.
never.
And I'm quite happy to stand up and put people in the right, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe in, it, you don't have somebody's life in your hands. How can you possibly think you do?
Yeah.
And some people do take that power, and for all the wrong reasons though.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
People will say certain things in readings because, and a majority of the time, you probably, if you've been to the States, you would have known this, maybe if you've done a little bit of research with it there, I'm not sure. It's a money-making market for some people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exploitation.
Oh
there.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some
Absolutely.
people that can't get out of bed until they've actually read their stars and stuff like that. That is.
There are
that's
some
over the
people that
top.
live by it. There
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
But it's like therapy though. And I was explaining to Emma that I have 17 people on a weekly basis that come in for a reading. Sometimes for an hour, sometimes for half an hour, because you can change your destiny overnight. There are certain things that they do rely on the guidance for because, and it's not because they're not confident as an individual. I mean, I'm talking about barristers, I'm talking about doctors.
Oh my God.
You know,
Yeah.
some of the most, I've got a millionaire that comes to me. You know, there's
Single.
Oh,
Oh, Kirsty.
That's just to give you an idea that they're human beings at the end of the day, and they go through everyday experiences in life that we all do. And I was explaining to Emma also that out of the mix of my clients, 40% of them are male. Because
interesting.
I couldn't
men have
believe
more
that.
of but men have more of addictive personality.
Right.
And so when they find things start manifesting and unfolding, they're like, oh, I can't believe that, I want more.
Yeah.
You know, so they are the ones that are on my higher retainers,
God.
you know.
Yeah. You like to have signs and messages from Rog, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you find it a comfort then, or?
Yeah, hell of a comfort.
Yeah.
So as I said, it was like when Rog went, me and Rog always used to go on holidays, always. So when he went, I used to go down, sit by the grave, sort of like thing. Oh, my ass used to get soaked all the time. So I was in Tesco's one day and they were selling this rubber gym mat sort of like thing, and I thought, oh, I'll have that now. So every time I used to go down to the grave, I'd take sandwiches and that, and I would put it at the side, and I would lay at the side now, chatting to him as if we're on sandwiches. So, and I'd be chatting, and people would drive past, and you could see him. And I just sit there chatting to him, and this, that, the other. And this went on for I don't know, for a while, but I never told anybody about this rubber mat. So my friend is Diane, is probably Diane Lazarus, And I was talking to her one day, and she said, by the way, she said, got Rog bumping his gums at the side of me, telling me to tell you, stop wasting your time on that rubber bloody mat. He's not there, it's too warm, he's in the house with you. So stop it.
Wow, that's lovely.
So, and it was like,
Yeah.
But even last week, I mean, to say, I thought, all right, go down, put flowers.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Diane in the morning, and then as I was putting the phone down of her, she said to me, hang on a minute, got him bumping his gums at the side of me. He's telling me to tell you, don't waste your money on taking flowers down to the grave now, because they're not going to last. Go and get a big bunch of flowers for your mother and go and sit with your mother for half hour.
That's
see,
lovely.
Like that. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So I think, so I know
Yeah.
he's there.
Yeah.
I know he's there.
Yeah, when I go to my dad's grave, I don't feel anything.
Oh, I do.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, and I come away from there. I can go there so sad, but once I've been there, plus I've chatted to him, I know he's fine,
Yeah.
and off I go.
Mind you, I did go down the
uplifted.
other day, because like I was
Feel
telling you,
uplifted.
like, my sister's not been well.
Mm.
So she'd had her operation cancelled a few times. And then we were having to ring on the 23rd, the Sunday, off for the third time to see if there was a bed. And it was a nice day, and I rarely go to the grave because I don't feel his energy there at all. But I just had this overwhelming feeling that I had to go down and talk to him. So I just stopped in Tesco, got some flowers, went down to the grave, and like I say, never usually feel a connection there, but I said, Dad, I said, Heidi's in trouble. I said, you've got to sort it, she needs that bed. They'd phone my mother an hour later to tell her.
Oh, see.
You know, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
But I remember when my father passed away, I mean, my father used to do a lot of work for the, he'd go around concerts, and then Dunvant Male Voice Choir, Swansea Choir, if there's anything in the Brangwyn, and he'd tape them, and then he was with Swansea Radio, Radio City for 25 years, so every Sunday morning, whatever concert he had taped that week, he would pay for the patients on the Sunday morning. So when my dad passed away, I mean, say he was sat there, he'd said to my mother on the Saturday night, Mum, get me a tangerine and a packet of crisps, as he always did. He ate the tangerine and the crisps, and my mother said she watched him and his head went down like that. She looked, and then after a while then, she thought, well, how was he sleeping? He was really into this film, realised he'd passed away. So on the Sunday morning, we were all at the house, and it was like my father always laughing, right? He'd walk into the house, he'd be laughing about this, that and the other. So it was very strange to walk in, and it was all doom and gloom sort of like thing. And I looked at my father's chair and he wasn't sat there, which I thought was strange. So then, the next minute, could you hear the Salvation Army band outside playing Onward Christian Soldiers. But it wasn't a slow one, it was this upbeat on. So I said, how are the Salvation Army playing such an upbeat? And I said, how do they know that Dad's died? My mother said, well, Christopher came here from the Salvation Army, so he's obviously told him.
Yeah.
And the Sally Army always used to go around the streets in the Sandfields anyway on a Sunday. So we didn't think nothing, we just thought they've come and stood out the house to show their respect. So then they started playing another song, and my sister turned around and said, should I go and thank him? And we were like, yeah, okay. So she went out, she'd gone for about 5 minutes, she'd come in, she was white. So we were like, what's wrong with her? She said, there's nobody there. So we like that. What do you mean there's nobody there? We can hear the music. So she said there's nobody there. Right? Nobody there. She went into the front room, right? My father's tape recorder that you've got to click had switched itself on. And I just turned round and I said, that's Dad letting us know that he's with, because I got 2 sisters that died when they were small. And I just said, that's Dad letting us know that he's with Janice and Pauline, and it's their turn now, and we've had him all these years, and that's what that is about.
Wow.
But then when my sister switched it off, it just said goodbye on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was the first real
Yeah.
wow.
Do you think you might have some sort of... You seem very
I was,
sensitive to these
I
things.
was told once before about going to see about it, and I did say, right, okay, then I'll do it, because I kept saying no. But I was going to go and learn this, whatever it was, on the Saturday morning. But the Sunday before I went to bed, and I had a dream that I was meeting my father coming off an aeroplane. My father never used to go anywhere in a bloody aeroplane. And I'm meeting my father, and he's walking towards me, and I'm like, Dad, have you had a fabulous time? Yes, I've seen all the family, blah, de blah, de blah. That was one night. The following night, I dreamt of my sister's husband that had passed away. He was at the bottom of the stairs, shouting out instructions for me to tell Linda. On the Wednesday night, a neighbour that had passed away. So it wasn't till the Friday that Diane said, you're definitely coming tomorrow. And I said, yeah, but I said, I've had these weird dreams. I said, but it's like they're not dreams. And she said, everybody is getting so excited, they're all in a line waiting to see you. And I went, no, I can't do it then. I can't. No. And I tell you what, I went to bed that night and I never dreamt anything as clear as those. So it's if they respected my wishes.
Absolutely.
That I didn't want to do it.
You see, it was the same with me as a child, because even though I'm one of 4 children, I was the youngest. I was the first one to develop the gift, and it used to scare the living daylights out of me.
I can imagine.
I mean, the shadows would be there, they'd be forming themselves in my bedroom and all sorts of things. And so I actually begged them not to show themselves to me. You can talk to me as much as you like, don't show yourself to me.
That's as much as I'd like to see my father again and everything.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
But it was so bizarre, because from that moment on I didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
And so they communicate with me in different ways. I was explaining to them, and they show me sometimes, they'll run a video in my head of who they are, what they look like, everything. They'll just paint a picture, and I'll see them standing there, but not in a physical sense, but either in a movie or in a photograph, or they'll show something for the way for them to communicate with me. But then 7 years ago my brother passed away, and I thought, well, you can all come now, because I thought, he's there, he'll protect me.
Yeah.
I thought, you can come as many times as you like. And they still won't show themselves to me. No.
And has your brother come to you?
My brother's come to me many times. Yeah. But obviously it's a completely different form. It's not like me picking up the phone and contacting him. He comes in my dreams.
Yeah.
And he'll come if I'm doing a reading for my sister-in-law. He'll come then.
Yeah.
You know, but he won't come to. But he will, because my brother had a, very, very distinctive smell with him. This aftershave combined with leather, right? And so whenever I need him, he will be there.
Yeah.
And something will be there. But I get more when my sister-in-law's with me than what I do without him. Yeah.
But it surprises me how many, as I said, like messages I've had from Rog, and Rog just thought it was a load of crap. He was the first to say it's a load of crap. It's a load of crap.
Me that.
You always used to say it.
See?
But it's like so many things. There's got to be something.
I've had nothing, as I said, unless
But
I'm
you're
not paying attention.
unless but it's as if you've also
But I will
got
say,
a wall in front
I was
of you.
just going to say, you've probably built up through an anxiety of what's happened with your son, and what's happened with the grief of losing your dad. You've obviously been so consumed in a bubble, not being disrespectful, but sometimes we can't see the woods for the trees then. And sometimes it's scary to come outside of that world, you know? And if you let it happen, you could bet your life with everything that's going on and everything that has gone on in your life, they'd probably be there massively for you.
I remember my sister always saying to, my sister always wanted to know was there life after death. And she was very frightened of dying. And I remember she said, but my gran said to her, when I go, I'll give you a sign. And my sister's never had that sign.
It's easier said than done though.
Yeah, so we were all like really sceptical or nervous. Or as I said, no, and she promised she'd give a sign, and nobody's ever had. I know, perhaps as I said, we're all just it's going when we're not paying attention. But
that can't be right. No, that's good. No, there's loads. There's loads.
so I'm yet to experience it.
Sometimes you don't know, like perhaps you've had a dream or something. Remember?
Oh yeah,
like my dad. But like my dad died. I went to bed, and I didn't know whether I was dreaming or not. But he came to me in his 40s when he was at his healthiest and fittest. So I could see him by the end of the bed, looking healthy.
Yeah.
As if he wanted me to know I'm better now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then when I woke up, I thought, oh, was that real or was it a dream?
Yeah.
No.
You don't know, do you?
But it's
You
like
know?
when,
Probably them.
after my dad had passed away, it's like my sister then turned round and said to me, I haven't said this to anybody, she said, but she said a couple of weeks before Dad died, she said, I was having a dream that our cousin Pat, who died years before, I dreamt that Pat was coming and sitting by my bed every night, and I was having this conversation with her. And she said this one night, my cousin Pat said to Susan, do you want to come and see all the family? So Susan said, well, yeah, okay. So she said, well, come with me. But she said, whatever you do, you don't step over the line. You just, when I tell you to stop, you stop. So she took Susan's hand, and Susan said she was going down this bright light tunnel.
Yeah.
And then Pat said, stay over there. And when Susan looked down, she could see this line. So when she looked ahead, there was my grandmother with my grandfather under this huge tree, and all the family members that had passed away was all underneath the tree. But my father had a twin brother, and they were identical. And Susan said when she looked, Alec was walking towards her, and he had his trousers rolled up as if he was down the beach, with his sleeves rolled up and his braces, and he was carrying one sister and holding the other sister's hand, and he said, hello love, do us a favour, tell your father now, enough's enough, I've looked after these bloody long enough and it's his turn.
Aww.
So Susan laughed, and then Pat said, you've got to go back now. So Susan said, oh, all right. But Susan, when she woke up, she didn't just wake up. It was as if she banged on the bed and sprung up, that she woke up like that.
Yeah.
And she thought, was that a dream? And she thought, oh, it must have been. But she didn't dream of Pat after that. And then it was a couple of days after my father died.
Well, you see, my brother,
Yeah.
before he passed away 7 years ago, he went into a coma on the Thursday around midnight, and I couldn't get a flight back that day, so I had to wait for the next day to get a flight. But that night I'd gone to bed in a mess because I was fighting to get home, obviously. But he came to me, and he'd never been to Miami before, and he came, and the springing and the sitting on the bed was exactly what happened with him.
Yeah.
He sat on, my brother was a lump of a boy, and I mean, at the time I was a waif, right? And so he sat on the bed, and I sprung up myself, and I just felt this presence, and he just gave me the biggest hug and said to me, I'm going to be okay.
Aww.
And I thought I was dreaming, obviously, because it must have been consciously on my mind worrying about getting home. Well, unfortunately, I didn't make it home to say goodbye to him because he passed away at 12 o'clock the next day, and I didn't get home until the late, about 5 or 6 hours afterwards.
Oh.
And he knew I wasn't going to make it back,
No.
so he came to me. But it was bizarre because I used to go to a lady for mediumship readings. That was it, purely mediumship, nothing about the future. And she hadn't seen me for years and years and years, and so she didn't remember where I was and didn't remember anything about me. And so I went hoping to connect, to find out, and she gave me the exact same message. It was your brother on your bed.
Oh.
And confirmed it for me. And so for me, I didn't need confirmation because I knew. My
I know.
soul told me.
I know, but you still
You
want
know,
that little bit of...
To give me that was the best thing. And it was so strange because the day I arrived home and saw my parents, I made the decision I'd be relocating back from the States. Been away for 20 years. And I thought, that's it. I need to be home now. I need to be with my family. But I was stalling in my mind because I just bought this really beautiful apartment, and I had a fantastic career. I had everything. I didn't need anything. Are you with me?
Yeah.
But she said to me that you're toying with making the decision, and all I was thinking about was what I just spent on the apartment. And she just said, you'll only take your soul to heaven with you. Your grandmother, who was the original Chriswick, as I said, was there with my brother, and they were saying, it's just your soul you'll take with you to heaven, and I thought, right, that's it, done. Forget about it.
But they
Forget
say
about
as
money,
well,
forget
don't
about
they?
everything.
Always go with your gut instinct.
Yeah.
You've
I
got
did.
to learn with your gut instinct,
did.
Well,
and I do.
I was in the Maldives when my father died, and said looking for signs. I completely forgot about this, but Adrian was trying to arrange flights home, and I remember we were on one of these. We had a little water bungalow
Right.
out on the sea on stilts, so I was there sitting on the laying on the sun lounger looking up, and it was night time because obviously with the time difference. I remember laying there crying, and I remember shouting, "Where are you, Dad?" And all of a sudden all the stars in the sky come out. There was just millions of them. I've never seen stars like it in my life. So when we come home, then I had a star named after him.
That's lovely.
So that's my thing now. I've got a real thing about stars, but I've never ever seen stars like it. They were just multiplying. The more I was looking, and more I was, well, where are you?
Stronger they were
The
there.
more they were. It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. One of those goosebump moments when you think, oh,
So you remember that now?
yeah.
And you probably think back and think, well, do you know what?
Yeah.
There's another thing, and there's another thing that you
Yeah,
get connected.
yeah.
And that's how it happens.
Yeah.
But you see, what it does, when something that you can connect with, it does open your eyes to a lot more, and you're a lot more observant about things.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you just get more in
Yeah.
tune with your own soul.
Yeah.
Because all of us are intuitive if we wanted to use it. You know?
So what about you? Can you think of it as you're listening
Well,
to us now?
to
Is
be
there
honest,
anything?
I want to ask Angie a question because I love TV shows, films. I'm obsessed with media, and I'm just wondering: have you ever watched a film like Harry Potter and been like, "That's not an accurate representation. This is like injuring the image of what I do and who I am"?
Well, no, because honestly, I think that the fact that people take this concept of the gift and making it into something bigger, better, gives it more awareness.
Yeah.
Are you with me? I don't knock anybody for doing, and I find them fascinating myself because it's amazing though, there's a lot of truth to some of these things that you do see.
So you're like the tea leaves and Professor
Oh,
Trelawney and
gosh,
a crystal
absolutely.
ball.
My grandmother used to sit there. Then she'd have them knocking on the door with their caps, my grandmother used to, you know. And so all of that stuff, there's a lot of home truths there. Yes, there's a lot of fictional stuff in there, but to be fair, I do find it fascinating because if you really dig deep on this fictional stuff, it does delve back into truth.
Yeah.
And there is, you know, I absolutely believe in wizardology and all of that stuff, 100%, right?
Yeah.
And so, where there's smoke, there's fire. So, there's always truth to something. Are you with me?
Yeah.
I depend on me. Tell me how you feel about this. Do it all if I wanna live. I worked hard and sacrificed to get what I get. Ladies, it ain't easy being independent. Question, how'd you like this knowledge that I brought? Bragging on that cash that it gave you what's the point? If you're gonna brag, make sure that your money is gone. And on no one else to give you what you want.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go one by one, starting with Christy.
I am still on the fence.
Wendy,
I'm a believer.
I'm almost there.
Oh.
Wow.
What? I'm a believer.
Well, I have to speak from the heart, so it's
Yeah.
a definite yes,
Yes.
for me.
Yeah, fabulous. So.
Ladies with an attitude. Ladies with an attitude.